Hi, designers. This is Karina Gardner, and I'm so excited because we have Shannon Boyer with us today. Shannon, so excited to have you on the podcast.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, those of you who are on YouTube will see that Shannon and I are matching today. I don't know how this happened, but we're both wearing green. Must be the color of the day. But I'm really excited about Shannon because she's going to talk to you about not just course creation today, but she's going to be talking about getting results, which is really cool. I know we're in the design space, but you guys know we have to be results driven, results oriented. So, Shannon, do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and then how you got into this?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So, I am an award-winning educator with a master's degree in education and more than 20 years of experience designing courses and curriculum, working with teachers and design teams in a college setting to make sure that students are getting results. So, student success and engagement was a major part of my job. And I did that for almost 20 years. I loved my job. I loved working with students and teaching and working with teachers and all of that. I thought I would retire at that job. And then in my 40s, I had two kids during the pandemic, and my life changed drastically. And at that point in time, I started kind of, for the first time, taking online courses, not post-secondary courses, but for interest, kind of looking at what were some other things I could do. As many of us are, is there a side hustle? I wanted to explore my creative side more and looking at, ways to do that. And I started to realize that there are a lot of people out there who have amazing expertise, but they don't necessarily have the background in education to know how to organize and chunk and package their expertise in a way that can get their students the results most efficiently. And so I started contacting people and just saying, this is what I do. Are you interested in my help? The other thing I should mention is that all courses go through a life cycle. And no matter how good the course is, at some point in time, if it's an annual course, it's usually around the 3-year mark. But at some point in time, all courses will need like a major revision. And I call it revisit, revise, and revitalize. And it's so important that people do that. And that's not something that we hear about online a lot because we hear about this like passive income, create a course, put it out there, never touch it again, sit on the beach and watch the millions roll in. And unfortunately, that's not the way it works. I think it's fortunate and like as well as unfortunate that it doesn't work that way. But yeah, so I started working with more and more people in the creative space, but in all industries who were looking to really showcase their expertise and make sure that their students were getting results. It wasn't enough for them just to be making money and having the course be financially successful. They wanted the course to truly be successful for the students as well. And I think that that's so critical for the long-term success of the business and the long-term success of the course. Because if you're not paying attention to those things, you're you're not going to keep getting new students into your program. So.
Yeah, so amazing. So tell me a little bit more about this. You said it started with R's. Revisit, re
Revisit, revise, and revitalize.
Yeah, I love it. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so when you have an online course, one of the things I talk about in my own courses is having the mindset of an educator. And one of the mindsets you need to have as an educator is being a reflective practitioner. And that means constantly looking at your course through the lens of how can it be improved. And so every time you're running your course, you want to be looking at those things, noting those things, making a note of any kind of questions or feedback that you get from students. And if you do live Q&As, you want to make notes of those too. It's not that there's something wrong with the course, but it may be indications that there's something that can be tweaked or presented in a different way, especially if you start getting the same questions over and over and over again. So that's the revisit. Revise is when you want to go through the course and basically redo stuff. So for a lot of the beginning parts, you'll be adding in stuff. You might be making small tweaks and small changes. But eventually, all of those little things that you're going to do is going to create this like amorphous kind of mess of a course because you'll be listening to a lot of different feedback, adding things in, and it won't have the same structure that it did when you first started. And often people realize that their ideal student has shifted or has changed, or they need to just kind of hone in on it a bit better because they've been listening to too many different people. And then revitalize is when you are just like refreshing, and so you've gone through a major revision. It's the course is revitalized, but you as the course creator and host of the course, teacher of the course, you are also revitalized. I've seen this so many times with my clients. It's like they just are reinvigorated and they have that energy and that passion back again than they first launched the course, because it's very easy to get bored with a course when we've been teaching it in the same way for a long time. And so it's just so awesome to see that passion and energy come back into a course and into a course creator, because that really comes through in how they're teaching their students and how they're talking about their course when they're marketing it and how they're delivering it. So it is just a complete revitalization of the course.
Yeah, amazing. I love it. I love that you said 3 years because it's so crazy. We're about to hit 3 years in Design Suite. And what have I been doing? Every month, I've been rewriting and retaping one of our 17 courses in our main program. And it is interesting because after about 3 years of experience, you do figure out what people are missing and what they really need to make it through your program. So I do think that 3 year mark is a great indicator. Many of you guys know that the other thing that happened is we went through, and every course is not just getting remade, but it's getting made into a 15-week course. So it's set up semester long for an academic year. And that's been done on purpose. As you guys know, will be coming up soon. We'll tell you more about that. But what made you realize that 3 years was the marker?
Um, just a lot of my own experience within the college. So when I was working at the college, we had a course revision program where every year we would do something different. And it was a 6-year cycle actually. And we would look at the courses in different ways in every one of those years. But year 3 was kind of a major update and revision, because just what you've said, when you design a course, you're an expert and you have forgotten so many of the things that were at the beginning when you first started learning whatever it is you're teaching. And so no matter how well you plan, there's always going to be things that you forget were part of the learning process. And then everybody experiences it differently, of course. So as you interact with more and more students, you start to see ways that you can present things differently that will be more understandable to a wider variety of students. And then yeah, it just tends to be that point where everything kind of comes together, and you know how you want to move forward, or you don't, and then you hire somebody like me to work one-on-one with you, or to go through a program where we elevate things more. One of the things that I talk to my clients about is I teach high touch, high quality, high impact courses. So very different from what you may have heard online, again, about how easy it is just to put a course together and use AI and do this and do that. One of the things that I teach is the high touch course. So if you really want your students to have success and get results, and you really want to set yourself apart in the industry and in the online space, it's important that you have different touch points with your students in the course. And then the second thing is high quality. So that is how the curriculum is designed and delivered. And again, if you're learning from a marketer how to design a course, you're probably not learning the same things as if you learn from an educator how to design a course. So I teach my students about all the important components of a module and a lesson, the difference between teaching a skill and teaching a concept, how to make sure there's application and implementation, and all of those important things, making sure the content's really high quality. And then that's going to result in a high impact course that is really going to make sure students have achieved a transformation, and it's going to impact their lives positively. If your students aren't doing something differently at the end of your course compared to what they were doing at the beginning of the course, then your course has just been for entertainment, not for education.
Yeah. So, oh, I love that. Entertainment, not education. Okay, so tell me this, do you have metrics in place so that you can see if results have been achieved?
Yeah, so the number one metric that I ask people to look at is your course completion rates, which not many people talk about because, again, we're focused on the marketing. How many people are we getting in? How much money are we making? How quickly? Blah, blah, blah. And that's if, I don't know if your Instagram looks anything like my Instagram, it's just full of, this person had a 6-figure weekend and a 7-figure launch and this, that, and the other thing. You have to have a good course in order to have those kind of numbers, but it really speaks more to the good marketing that you did. What you want to look at when you're looking at whether or not your course is successful is whether or not students are completing the course.
Mhm.
Um, Now, we're not going for 100% completion rate because there are things that are going to come up in people's lives that are beyond our control or their control.
Mhm.
But what's interesting is that the average completion rates, and it varies depending on what statistic you look at and who you ask, is 10 to 15%.
Oh
It
my
is
gosh.
very low.
That
There is a
is
lot of room for improvement.
what? 10 to 15%. You're making me feel very good because we actually track not completion rate because we don't believe in completion rate for coursework. We instead are completion rate for results.
Yes,
So
yes.
we have metrics. Like one of our main metrics is open first shop, open had first sale, because we're trying to make sure that they can actually make sales from their design work. And we have I think last time we checked, 67% rate in which a first sale was made. First sale? Yeah, first sale, definitely first shop. I think it was like 70 something percent. And I think there's a lot here because so many people do believe that you can put up a course, make money from it, and just like Shannon's talking about, go to the beach. Many of you, well, those of you who are listening to this who are in Design Suite know that not only is that opposite of what we do, but literally we are talking to you every day. You have meetings every single week. We have multiple like check-ins, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot of work if you've decided you're going to do it that way. We went into building our program that way because I wanted to build it just like if I could create an online university setting, we were going to create it just like if you were in my classroom at a university. So I think this is really fascinating. I do think it's the way that we should be headed. This whole idea you can put out a course and just throw it out there and whatever. I do think that is feeling a little bit old and stilted. Thoughts on that, Shannon?
Absolutely. And so people are seeing course sales go down. And it's because of there's several reasons. The financial environment is different than it was, but more importantly, people are becoming jaded with these courses that have, hyped up marketing promises and that under deliver. And so people are becoming jaded, but also a lot more discerning in what they're going to invest their money in. They've been burned maybe once or twice. And so now they're really looking more closely at what are they going to get out of the course and what kind of service are they going to receive in the course. Again, those touch points and the interactions between the student and the instructor and students and students. So there's 3 types of interaction: student to content, student to instructor, student to student. And so people are looking, they don't know that, but they're looking for whether or not the course delivers those results. And the ones that do are getting better results for the students, not seeing the dip in enrollments that other courses are, and they're having that kind of longevity and that test of time. During the pandemic, the online course space was a lot different. Of course, it was kind of the boom of that. People were stuck at home. Many people didn't have anything to do. They were watching courses for entertainment, or they were not able to do the job that they used to do or the career that they were used to do. And so they were looking for opportunities to pivot. And so there was just this big boom. Um, and a lot of people made a lot of money, regardless of the quality of the course. Now we're on the other side of that. And so people are looking for something that's different, and courses that have those interactions that we just talked about and are really focused on the success of their students are the ones that are kind of standing the test of time. And I love that you talk about results because I also talk about that even when you get feedback from your students, if you have a course and you do a feedback survey. Many people give a feedback survey immediately after the course because they want to know about the student's experience with the course. I teach a lot about how to give like a proper feedback survey to get you actionable like information and what to do with it and how to review it and all of that. But I also talk about doing an implementation survey, which is kind of what similar to what you're talking about. And that's when you're contacting your students down the line to see what did they actually do with the learning and did they implement it? Because that's really, what you want to know. You want to know about their experience with the course, but you also want to know about whether or not they implemented it and if it was useful in their life.
Yeah, so amazing. Oh my gosh, so many great takeaways here. And I think you're completely right when we talk about it's like crazy. It's only been 3 years, 4 years since pandemic, right? There was kind of like that 2 year period right there. But like things have changed. The numbers have changed, the way we do things are changed, and the way we behave as a society has changed, right? So I do think there is quite a bit there. If people want to work with you, Shannon, and you really are on this education side of things, how would someone get a hold of you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So there's a couple of different ways people can get a hold of me. So of course, Instagram, I'm Shannon L. Boyer, Boyer on Instagram. My website is the same, shannonlboyer.com. I also host a sip and share every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And it's just a kind of a free networking event, an opportunity for online course creators to come together, ask each other questions. How's this going? How do you do this? Yada, yada, yada. And just network and share and talk together. And so that's a really great way to kind of come into my world and get to know me and find out more ways to work with me. I have an intensive course for new course creators. And in the fall, I will have a more traditional online course for people who are new course creators, but also have an online course already and are ready to take it to the next level. And so that's 6 modules with 12 weeks of support. And if you want something today, I have a freebie on my website that's called The 7 Things Every Course Must Have to Max Student Referrals. And so you can download that, get on my newsletter, and that will get you the invitations for the Wednesday sip and shares.
Awesome. Okay, so can we get a link to that freebie?
Yes, absolutely. So it's just www.shannonlboyer.com/freebies.
Slash freebies. You guys, we will put that into the show notes for you guys so you can check out Shannon and see more what she's doing. I still think there is a lot of place for course creation. We're definitely going to have Shannon talking directly to Design Suite. So if you're listening to this and you're a Design Suite member, know that Shannon's going to be coming to a guest expert to talk to you guys even more about course creation for those of you who are trying to, take it to the next level. You guys know as designers, one of the main ways we make money is actually designing. But the second way is actually to teach our crafting courses, our quilting courses, all the things that we're actually doing. And you guys know that that's actually how I started. I started by teaching quilting courses. So even if you think, oh, I don't know if this is for me, there might be something here for you that you just didn't realize is something extra or beneficial that you can give your customers. So thank you, Shannon, for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.